Am I the asshole for giving my fiance an ultimatum? I, 30-year-old male, am engaged to my fiance, 30-year-old female, who
Okay.
I've been dating since the beginning of 2020. We'll call her C. I'm an active duty Army captain, been serving since 2012, and C works as a government contractor with a flexible schedule because she works remotely 80% of the time. Required to show face once a week for at least an hour. We met at the height of the pandemic in Washington, D.C., towards the end of 2020. I was given orders to move to Arizona for training. The orders were expected, but not as soon as they came. This put C and I in a conundrum as we weren't fond on the idea of a long distance relationship, but we both felt like we had found something special in the relationship. Fast forward 6 months, and I'm doing everything that I can to get reassigned back to DC, despite me not caring for the city. For context, C is from a rural town in Arizona and moved out to DC in 2017 for school. Since moving out to DC, she has been adamant about never returning to a rural area. C is not fond of the idea of leaving DC anytime soon. Nevertheless, I'm doing all that I can to get back to DC, which is not an easy feat. Those who serve in the military can attest that we're typically at the mercy of the needs of the Army. After doing 6 months of all I can to network back into the DMV, I'm given subsequent orders to Colorado. C and I are devastated since we both know she won't come out to where I am, and there's nothing I can do to immediately relocate to her location. The worst part is that the orders were for 3 years, meaning we're doomed to a long-distance relationship for at least 3 years. Another thing to consider is that one of my convictions/conditions is that I won't propose/marry anyone unless I live with them first. I
Mm.
was engaged once before C, and I had to call the wedding off due to inconsolable differences. She cheated on me. At the moment of getting more orders, I promised C that I would continue to do all that I could to make sure my next orders were somewhere in the Northeast. In those 3 years, I did countless field exercises, combined training rotations in California and Louisiana, and a deployment. The 3 years were grueling and took a significant toll on me, both mentally and spiritually. During this time, C kept true to her word and remained in the Northeast. Nevertheless, I worked tirelessly to ensure that my evaluations were nothing short of exemplary to enable my eventual plea to be reassigned out east. Toward the end of my second year in Colorado, I was informed that I would be deployed and was debated that I would have to leave C for another year. With the news of deployment and our relationship hitting the 3-year mark, I broke my own rule and asked for C's hand in marriage. Then I was sent off. Then, on one faithful day in deployment, I got the word that I was selected for a nominated position out in Maryland. C and I were ecstatic. Not only were we going to be married in the next year, but we were also going to be finally living together after 4 long, grueling years. Fast forward a year, and I returned from deployment. During that time I was away, C decided to move out of her apartment in Arlington to a pseudo-luxury apartment in Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh.
She felt she was due for an upgrade. I was indifferent about her decision making, as I didn't know if I would be assigned to New England, and I didn't want it to be a reason why she didn't/couldn't do something. So I encouraged her to go after what she wanted. Well, she gets the apartment and falls in love with it. Her words, not mine. This fact will be important later on in the story. Upon my return from my deployment, I worked to start scheduling my move to DC and start to deliberate where we're going to live as newlyweds. C has the idea of staying in her luxury apartment, but upgrading to a 2-bedroom. I'm indifferent, so I agree. However, upon further research of my location on my new assignment and C's apartment, I realized there is approximately 35 miles between the locations, or a 2.5-hour round-trip drive per day due to all the traffic. It's so crucial to note that the new position I was elected for is a rigorous program that only determines a maximum of 8 captains per year, meaning I would have an overbearing workload through the week and then have to commute the 2 hours each day. I disclose this information to C and request that we work to find a place closer to work. This infuriates C as she claims to love the apartment and doesn't want to leave. She then entertains the notion of us living in separate apartments post the wedding for at least a year so that she can enjoy her luxury apartment. I in return tell her that if her love/adoration for an apartment room is greater than the love and concern that she has for her future husband, then we should not get married. Am I the asshole for making the statement? I found a phone recording me in my closet.
Oh.
You're not overreacting, no.
What?
You can't have anything recording.
That you don't consent to.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, if you found it, that's bad. You didn't know it was there. That means you found it.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
I, 20 female, always change in my closet. Yesterday, I woke up, took a shower, and came back to my room to change in my clothes. Typically, I'll bring clothes into the bathroom on shower days, but not yesterday, apparently. So anyway, I went back in and I reached for something on the ground, and I saw a phone in between my stuffed animals. I pick it up and saw that it had been recording for at least 14 plus minutes. I had only been in the closet for a minute at this point, so it was set up right after I went to go take a shower. I freaked out and brought it to my mom because lo and behold, this was my 40 male stepdad's phone.
Oh my God.
I have no idea why he would do this. He's been in my life since I was really little, like 8. Whoa. So I'm really confused right now. He's always tried to act like my father, asking me to call him dad, and in the past few years, hugging me. My mom took my side and asked him to stay somewhere else while everything was being figured out.
Yeah.
My mother and his mother are thinking it might have to do something with his alcoholism. He drinks every night and maybe postpartum depression and he blacked out or something, but I have no idea. I reviewed the video yesterday and you can see him come into my closet, put it in between my stuffed animals, and then move them a little so they hide the phone. Not well enough, thankfully. And then even move one of my jackets so it doesn't block the view, so he can get a perfect video. When my mom confronted him, she said he looked genuinely shocked and confused, as if he didn't remember doing this. With blackouts, you can forget events, but I don't know. I just feel like he didn't black out. I mean, maybe, but it just seems way too easy for him to get out of it like that. He said something about me needing to report him to the police. My mom took that as him being blacked out and doing something he would have never done, but I took this as him being guilty as fuck and a master manipulator. Mm-hmm. I feel so violated right now.
Yeah.
You know, in those games where you get to pick what you do and then at the end you have the option to go back and see what could have happened.
Yeah.
I wish I could do one of those right now because I'm so confused. If he truly blacked out, what was he going to do about his phone? Would he have remembered it or what would have happened? I also feel bad because he's the father of my little brothers and my mother's husband, but at the same time, who the fuck does this? She asked me if I thought I could ever forgive him if he got help, and at first, in shock, I said, maybe, but after thinking about it, seeing the video, my mom sent it to her phone, and sleeping on it today, I don't think I can. My mom is having me see a counselor/therapist to talk to me about it, so I guess that's good. I'm thinking of taking time off work because this is really turning my world upside down.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. And then top comment, this is not creepy, it's criminal. Blackouts do not excuse this type of behavior. Primarily because memory loss or not, he's taking this action. 99% of dads out there can get blackout drunk without committing sex crimes against their daughter. Over the past decade, I've heard awful stories from my friend, let's call her Cammie, age 65, and her daughter, Tammy, age 41. Tammy is the epitome of narcissism. I need help from lawyers, social workers, therapists, and fellow victims of narcissists to help Cammie see that going no contact is the only solution. I will get straight into the story, and this is the latest and worst situation that provides a great understanding of how harmful Tammy is to her parents' lives and those around her. Tammy called her mother at 2 a.m. in a very creepy manner, saying into the phone, "I don't know where the kids are. Have you seen them? I can't find them anywhere," slurring her words and omitting complete words. Tammy has 2 children, aged 4 and 7. Cammie understandably freaks out and wakes up her husband, John. They drive over to Tammy's house, and they're deeply concerned. Upon arrival, they find all the windows in the house and the car are open. They discover Tammy lying on the kitchen floor, talking to herself and acting drunk. A complete personality change that is unsettling. Cammie tries to get Tammy up and coherent enough to explain what is happening, while John checks the house to ensure that the kids are unharmed. The children are found huddled in a corner of one of the kids' rooms, visibly shaken. Unsure of what to do, Cammie suggests they take Tammy and the kids down to their own house so that she can calm Tammy down and get to the bottom of the situation. I will say, off topic, I think her picking Cammie and Tammy was one of her worst decisions.
Yeah.
Literally, because I'm actively trying to
Yeah.
keep up.
So the mom is Cammie,
The mom
and
is
the
Cammie.
daughter is
It's
Tammy.
Tammy.
Upon returning to their house, while Cammie fetches water for Tammy and the kids, she discovers the door is locked. Panicked, Cammie tells Tammy, "Hey, we need to talk. This isn't okay. We need to know what's going on." Tammy starts yelling, moving furniture through the room, and they realize that she has barricaded the door. Despite their efforts to open the door slightly, Tammy continues to yell and even tries to comfort her kids amid the chaos. Tammy grabs her father, aggressively pulling hair and causing harm. The situation escalates as Tammy also attacks Cammy, grabbing her by the hair. Sadly, this is not the first time Tammy has assaulted her parents. Alarmed and panicked, they eventually remove the door hinges to gain access to the room, only to find an empty room. They hear the children scream from a closet, which turns out to be locked as well. They unhesitantly remove the hinges from the closet, with Tammy shouting, "Why are you doing this to me?" Cammy, in utter confusion, asks Tammy, "What is happening right now? No one is hurting you." Somehow, everyone eventually goes to bed. A few hours later, they're awakened by 6 squad cars calling John's full name on the intercom to come out. The police had to use the intercom as nobody answered the door. Initially hesitant to engage with the police for fear of further traumatizing the kids, it is revealed that Tammy had called her ex, claiming her parents were holding her hostage while she hid in the closet. Upon waking up, Tammy had no recollection of the earlier events. Despite Tammy's attempts to ensure her safety with the police, Tammy showed no empathy or remorse, mercilessly offering a casual apology to dismiss the incident. Feeling confused and bewildered, Cammy and John are left utterly lost. Tammy exploits her children to manipulate her parents, who have been passive and enabling of Tammy's repeated reckless behavior that only seems to escalate. Clearly, Tammy has deep-seated mental and behavioral issues, making her a threat to everyone around her, with a troubling criminal record to attest to this. Yet, Cammy remains indecisive about taking action, as they want to remain in their grandchildren's lives. My fear is that Tammy has placed her children's lives in danger, and if left unchecked, something much worse could happen.
My mom wants me to marry my dead sister's husband. Someone please help me escape this madness. I am beyond appalled, disgusted, and just shocked. I've got no one I can tell this to, and I need to get it off my chest. 4 months ago, my sister, 27 female, passed away and left behind her children. Collectively, we have done our part as a family to help them regain normalcy the best we can. We have been by their side every step of the way in dealing with their absence and their grief. As of lately, I, 23 female, have started to remove myself away from anything which has to do with her husband. I'll call Q, 30 male, due to comments sometimes inappropriate, but usually on the lines of how I look exactly like my sister. I still make every effort to manage the kids to the best of my ability, and I still have them on my days regardless. The bombshell was dropped a few days ago, and my sister's clothes were strewn all over, with her wedding dress, while my mother, my other sister, Q, and his brother sat around. According to them, my deceased sister's kids require a mother and her husband requires a wife. And since I am an identical copy to her, I am the one to fulfill these roles. Like, what the actual I'm fully aware grief can cause individuals to say weird things and act oddly at times, but this is something entirely different. The most dreadful aspect for me was the fact that they had already taken away her photos and had begun preparing for the wedding. I am lucky as Q's mother and father have not only selflessly taken myself in, but also the grandbabies. She's adamantly against this nonsense and feels we are all not safe around them, which I strongly agree with. I am fortunate to have an opportunity to work elsewhere, but I can't imagine leaving my nephews behind in this mess. I am still in a state of shock, trying to process the situation and how I can manage everything in this too. I'm just struggling to understand what could have brought this on or what could possess someone to behave like this, as I just can't wrap my head around it, and I'm sorry to vent, but thank you in advance. I have heard this happen I know real life couples who have done this. It's not tradition to do this, but it's very culturally accepted that if a husband and wife, one of the spouses die, I know real life people where the husband dies, the wife will go marry the brother. I know a handful of people who've done that. I know one where her husband became quadriplegic, and so they gave her to the brother. Actually, more commonly, funny enough, it's always that personally that I've seen is the women marrying the brother. Less commonly, I've seen the men marrying the younger sister. It does happen. Don't get me wrong, it does happen. But I've seen so many situations like this. It's very culturally accepted because they feel that because you're married to the family should still take care of you and that you should just pass along each other one to another until, I don't know, it's a weird AF.
We just got a new babysitter a few months ago after our one we had for 2 years moved for college. Our new babysitter is only 16, but she had been babysitting one of my coworkers' children for a while, and I trust him. A few nights ago, my wife and I were both working nights, and I saw on the camera that our babysitter was asleep on the couch, and the baby had woken up crying for almost 30 minutes while she slept. That bothered me, so without talking to my wife when I got home in the morning, I had told my babysitter maybe she should set alarms throughout the night to make sure she's awake since the baby monitor didn't wake her, and that it was not okay for her to leave the baby crying like that. I guess it hurt the kid's feelings because she mentioned it to my wife, and my wife is really upset with me because she's only 16 and what I was asking is unreasonable, and that has never happened before, so again, I'm being unreasonable, and that I should have talked to her first because this could have been a learning experience. I'm really not worried about a learning experience, but I'm worried about the fact that my children are cared for properly.